So I do a project called Tweet to Paper. And in this project, I find tweets that kind of catch my eye throughout the day, and then I draw them up later that night. Let me move Blab over to my screen. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for joining. So today's Tweet to Paper, I found, and it was, I don't know, I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny and kind of had a little bit of wisdom in it, if Twitter cooperates with what I'm trying to do, which is find my favorite tweets. Tweet. Hold on one moment. Favorites. Okay. Oh, why are you so slow, Twitter? Favorites. Here we go. Okay. So the tweet that I'm going with today is, if you were able to believe in Santa for like 8 years, can you believe in yourself for like 5 seconds? You got this. I just love that. It's because, we put our faith, our belief in, Santa Claus, something that we have no control over. Meanwhile, it's tough for people to believe in themselves, which is bizarre. Because if anybody's going to believe in you, you need to be the one driving that belief first. You need to be the first one to believe that you can do this, and then you'll get other cheerleaders. So that's why I love that. We spend most of our childhood believing in something that may or may not be true, if there are any children watching. But it's almost unfathomable for some people to step up and say, yeah, I believe in myself. I can do this. So I need my drawing utensils first. Got my little drawing pencil. Got my Pentel Feud brush pen. And now I'm just going to grab a handful of my microns over here. And today's Tweet to Paper is by @Chris Curtis. That's Chris with a C-H-R-I-S, Curtis, K-U-R-T-I-Z. Go check him out on Twitter. It's got a lot of nice inspirational tweets, funny stuff. Hey, Amy, thanks for joining. And if anybody wants to hop in the open seat down there, please, by all means, I would love to hear when you started believing in yourself. What has that belief, how has that changed your life? And how everything is working out for you. I'm just going to remove the Fitbit. I'm left-handed, and whenever I wear my Fitbit on my dominant hand, I can't draw. So I take it off. If you were able to believe in Santa Claus for like 8 years, you can believe in yourself for like 5 seconds. You got this. So there are a lot of words. Hello, Monique. Thanks for joining. I'm just getting started by sketching out where I need to put everything on my paper. We got a lot of words here, so I might have to write a little bit small. If you were able to believe in Santa Claus, if you were able to believe in Santa Claus for like 8 years. Okay, good. He wrote out a number 8. That'll save me some space. You can believe in yourself. I want believe in yourself to be big, Okay, I'm going to let Jeff join in here. Click. Did it click? There it goes.
What's happening, Bowerside?
Hey, Jeff. What is going on?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Do you have your other one muted?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Can you hear it?
No, it sounded like there was a small echo, but I wasn't real sure.
Maybe I was sitting a little too close to the microphone. I can lower the pickup on the microphone. I'm still kind of working out the kinks on here.
Right.
Because I'm just using my – here we go. I can lower it. This might help a little bit. Because this camera right here that I'm pointing to, that's actually just my phone pointed straight down on a selfie stick. So
gotcha.
It's been working kind of good so far. Are you still doing these on Periscope too, or? No. I kind of got to wait. Oh, I definitely dumped Meerkat because
Right.
every time I use it, it crashed. So I don't know. There was like no point for me.
Well, you got
And
to hook it to a GoPro and get on a wakeboard or something with it now, you know?
yeah. Might as well do that. But yeah. I liked Blab because the whole point of this was in January was to kind of get other people involved in it, and I thought I might as well try this as an experiment to see if people are down with it, if it has any wings at all, or we'll see.
No, this has been cool. I've really enjoyed this a lot. I think just a lot more from just you're actually getting to talk to other people. It's actually becoming a conversation, you know?
Yeah.
So you could sit there on Periscope and Meerkat and you just, you know, you could do your thing and read comments back to people and it was kind of an interaction. But beyond that, I mean, on this one, it's always, you know, everyone's right back in it. And then other people are hopping in and hopping out. And that's why they end up, you know, lasting so long. All of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I've been in this for like 2.5 hours. I got to get, you know.
I've found that to be the case. Not so much with mine because I have puppies that they force me to have a hard deadline, a hard stop. Right. But yeah, the thing about Meerkat and Periscope is when I'm looking down here drawing, I can't speak as well as I'd like to because my mind is like focused on not misspelling things and not forgetting words.
Right,
Craig,
right.
You're right. Craig, you're right. But Jeff, if you'd like to talk about you know, I don't know, when did you start like believing in your own abilities? Because I think for some people it can happen very early in life. Some people can happen very late, but it's never too late.
Well, all right, yeah. To be honest, I'll do it real quick because I've got to make dinner for the miniature version.
There you go.
But
Thank you.
What happened with me is, I guess, at a lot younger age, probably skateboarding. I guess from maybe about 15 to my mid-20s, a lot, and then from that point on, it was after I started raising my son by myself, and I've done that since he was about 1.5. And so it's one of those things where, you know, it wasn't ever like a poor me thing. It was like a, wow, I guess we're doing this, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of times people are like, oh, that's too bad. I mean, to be honest, man, we live in a total dude house. I mean, he's 8. I mean, we sit around watching baseball all the time. I mean, it could be way worse.
Yeah. That doesn't sound bad at all.
No, it doesn't. You know, it was sitting there. Hey, I've always got somebody to play FIFA with. So, I mean, it's
nice.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse. And he's just found out that he likes a lot of Italian food. And it's been years for him to try to eat anything different. I'm like, fantastic. I can finally eat pasta all the time again.
There you go. So it sounds like you were kind of put in a position where, hey, it's either I know that I can get this done or there's no other option.
and at the time when he was a lot younger, I remember going, you know what, I'm totally going to write this book about being a single father. And then I realized that, you know, you don't have any damn time to write a book being a single parent, you know? So I was like, anyone that writes a book about being a single parent, the kid better be in college or something, because I know you don't have any time to do it. So, but yeah, beyond that, man, I love watching these. These are fantastic. I'll end up tweeting a few at you pretty soon here, but I'm gonna hop
thanks,
up
man.
here and try to figure out what to make so we don't die.
I appreciate it. Yeah, actually, Louis C.K. had are you a fan of Louis C.K.?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, his family humor on his daughters is amazing. It's like, you need to die, you need to eat this or you'll die, and I will go to jail for a long, long time.
And it's funny because I laugh at that because it's almost how it comes down to it sometimes. Like I'm explaining stuff to him, and he'll just, you know, same thing. He's just like, oh, I'm not hungry. And I'm like, we live in Florida, man. I'm like, it's 100 degrees outside and 100% humidity. I'm like, you're going to pass out and smash your face open. I was like, you got to eat something. But yeah, you end up just going to like the most realistic option. That's it. You're going to be dead. I don't know what else to tell you.
Oh man.
Hey, have a good one, man. I'm going to pop out.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, man. Not a problem.
All right, and then we have hi Joe. Hi Joe. Welcome. Always welcome. Hello, David. I'm trying to stick to the drawing, Craig. It's a little tough to draw and speak, but as you can see here, we got if you were able to believe in Santa Claus for like 8 years. What do I got left? You can believe in yourself for like 5 seconds. Joe, I gotta find that and follow you. If you guys are new to my live tweet to paper drawings, Joe does. She's jumping into hand lettering, but she's done some pretty sweet Chinese paintbrush work in the past. So definitely follow her and see what she's working on over at Instagram. For like 8 years, you can believe in yourself for like 5 seconds. You can, I want to make these kind of big. Believe in yourself. See that? Yes, you should. Okay, so believe in Santa Claus are my big words up here. Believe in yourself. Those are going to be my big words down here. You can believe in yourself for like 5 seconds. And then a big, I think, you got this. I think that works. I think that works. You can. So when I sketch it, it's very, very rough. I've dabbled in calligraphy off and on. Oh, hi, Ames. Ames? Amy? Ames. Off and on since I was 13. Love it. Hand lettering is one of my favorite forms of art. Watching you create is fascinating to me. Well, thank you. Thank you. I actually just started this in January. Because I was struggling. Well, here's where that self-belief comes in. I was struggling with my own personal abilities, my own artistic abilities. I didn't think my creativity was where it needed to be. I knew for sure that my style, I didn't have a personal style with illustration or anything like that. So I decided to do something about it. And hello, Gene. And I did this tweet to paper. I followed all these amazing artists on Instagram, just looking over the typography hashtag, and I saw what they were doing. I picked up a few styles that I liked, and I practiced it. And like everything, when you practice, you're going to make your own mistakes, and eventually they might get worked into a style. So if I go back, we can kind of see that I've been sticking to a few different type of things. Oh, this was a fun one, especially because I love pumpkin spice. Brace yourselves. The pumpkin spicing has already begun. But yeah, eventually you kind of work into a rhythm. And because I actively did something, I'll let you know. It is, where are we? Pro Art Tools and Supplies. It just looks like this. I think it's a 5.5 by 8. I bought these on Amazon. I bought everything that I have on Amazon. Oh, there's a black cat outside. Which is lucky for me because I live in Seattle. So it arrives like, I don't know, yesterday. But yeah, by actively doing something about, my self-doubt, I was able to kind of turn it around and do something really fun. And now I'm over here on Blab connecting with other people. And then you got this. Okay. You got this. It's all there. It's a coffee break. It's cold up here now. It's cold up here. Not as cold as it used to be. I used to live in Milwaukee. Yeah, it's a very long one. So this is going to be difficult because I don't have those pens you mentioned, Joe. So I may just warm up my hands. I live in Seattle now, Gene. We just moved out here a month ago now. We're all settled into the house. But we did return to the Midwest over the weekend for a wedding in Gary, Indiana. I'd never been to Gary, Indiana. There are some beautiful parts about it, but most of it on the surface is what we hear about it. Oh man, my hands are so shaky. I don't know if I want to use this one. Yeah, I might have to. Okay. Left-handed problems. Calligraphy is difficult. I can only remind you so many times. Yes. Your special pens, I know. Okay. And if anybody wants to jump into the seat right now, I've got a few of you here, and tell me about when you started believing in yourself and how that kind of changed your outlook on life and changed just your energy. I know it's difficult. I think for me, well, besides this creative rut, which I think we all kind of fall into sometimes, I was always a creative kid, but I was not always willing to just be myself, mainly in high school, which is very common. But around do training for teens, trying to think of applications. Gene, do you want to expand on that? Training for teens, trying to think of applications. Okay, we got Gene hopping in. Thank you, Gene, for joining me up here.
Yeah, hi.
So hi, what do you have in mind?
Well, I'm going to head off to the office here. What I'm thinking, is that I work with a group of guys and gals that it's called Lift Up America, and we're trying to. Well, we're not trying. We're having some pretty good success with a team mentoring program. We go into schools and work with kids that are, basically failing schools. And then we do a pre-resiliency assessment, post-resiliency assessment, and then get them, looking at themselves, thinking about goals and the steps to get there. Mm-hmm. Short-term, long-term. We don't, the main thing is that they take another look at themselves. A lot of these kids see school as an interruption. Yeah. We talk about school dropouts. They're mentally dropped out of school, not just physically, Yeah. And they're just giving a lot of eye service to their assignments, and and so I'm thinking, if we could get kids, I always felt art was a medium to get kids turned on to an expression of who they were. And I'm seeing what you're doing, just briefly, and I'm thinking, God, what would happen if you were there, right, in that upper box, and we had 3 other teens on here.
Oh yeah,
the kids that come out of the Ambassadors of Compassion program, mm-hmm. and you were teaching them life skills, which we do, life skills and leadership skills. Yeah. But at the same time, you were doing the artwork and giving them some instruction as to, hey, this could be you.
Yeah,
not exactly what you're doing, but I'm just thinking of another way to use Blab.
That would be wonderful. And actually, so the only reason I got to go to college was I'm the first one in my family to go to college and graduate. And we grew up in the poor part of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah. Right in the hood.
I know where that is.
And just looking at the stats, what is it? 66% of Latinos drop out. They don't even finish high school. But me and my friends in the program that we were in college, they gave us the opportunity. It's actually called the Educational Opportunity Program. And they gave us the opportunity and kind of a mindset to go to college, and that we could do it. We could compete in a private school with the rest of the people who went to private school. So if I could help, or if this inspires you anyway to help those kids, that would be awesome.
Okay, we'll go ahead and check you out on Twitter. Stay with you on Twitter, and
yeah.
You can follow us and see what we're doing, and maybe we can work out something down the road.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Sounds good. Mm-hmm. I like what you're doing. I think it's the one medium, the one discipline that has been taken out of schools when the budget crunch is on.
Yeah.
Art's gone, field trips, life experiences, relationship building. Mm-hmm. You name it. Mm-hmm. All the right side of the report card.
Yeah, and it's such a shame, because actually we're talking about when did you find your self-belief, and I found belief in myself in art class in 10th grade, because that was where I could do something and really show what I got without really caring too much about what other people felt, because, I was just doing it for myself and doing it to express myself. And when you take that away from people, then they're going to lose interest in going to school. They're going to be mentally checked out, even if they are there.
Hey, what would happen if one of your teachers saw you doodling or whatever you were, I mean, I used to watch the kids across from me to find out how they printed and wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to see what their style was, and I'd be over there checking that out and going, man, maybe I can make some letters or some symbols like that. I mean.
Well, for me, I guess I was pretty lucky. I had a bunch of art teachers who were very encouraging, and my parents were encouraging as well. So, there was never any feeling of that I shouldn't be doing this. No teachers try to shut me down or anything like that to say it was a bad idea. But
Craig is saying on here, Aaron, Craig is saying that he used to design. I use design to educate students about values.
Oh,
I'd sure like to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. If Craig is available, hop on in.
I'm the head of the National Character Education Center.
Okay.
So we do value-based education, for schools all over the world, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, give me a few minutes. Yeah. Sounds good, Craig. So, what type of response or effectiveness are you getting out of your programs?
Well, interestingly enough, it is through art that our trademark was evolved. And for example, like we take 7 core ethical values all found in the body, and they're reference points for teaching kids. So kids end up more with a gestalt, a wholeness in terms of, what we're teaching them, as opposed to in isolation. In other words, if I just teach respect all by itself and give them the word of the month as respect, it becomes labor intensive for teachers, and it has a tendency to not be remembered and not really become a part of them. So we say, well, respect is the eyes and ears, integrity, making, keeping agreements is the mouth, your heart, the major decisions of life, your gut is perseverance or resiliency or grit, whatever you want to call it. We can just go right down through the body and name all the different values. And then we talk with kids about that's what behavior is. In other words, when you express those toward others, that's all about behavior. And those are the values that ignite you, inspire you, and drive you, and create, the motivation for other people. So it's kind of value driven versus activity driven.
Mm-hmm.
But now, tell me a little bit more about what you're doing, because I want to learn from you, in terms of what you can teach and what are you doing here?
Sure. So, I don't know. So the overview of my project here. So I do a project called, where are we? Tweets Paper. That's over on Twitter. Well, it started over on Twitter. In January, I was kind of down in the dumps on myself about my own abilities, my creative abilities, my skills, and I knew that I needed to figure out a way to grow those, and also try to grow my social media, my connection to my social media friends, I suppose. And I came up with this idea because it would give me a daily, or at least multiple times a week, an exercise to increase my skills while interacting with people without them having to do more than they're already doing. So they send out a tweet, and I'm on Twitter all day. And if I see something that strikes me, I will draw it up later that night. And lately I've been doing them live on Blab. There's no real end game, but I'm toying with a few ideas, from doing a book to digitizing these and selling them for prints. I've got some ideas, some requests for that. Just keep growing, I suppose, is the goal right now.
Right. Hey, you have to see my T-shirt I'm wearing.
What do we got? Hand him the mic.
And then it goes around the back. You see it's over the heart.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah.
But I think what I really love about what you're doing is that often kids in these neighborhoods, kids in these communities, they don't know that having goals is a thing they can do.
Yeah.
They think what I have to do is what my family forces me to do, whether it's going to work and not going to an after-school program or anything like that, or dropping out and working full-time. It's a cycle that people get sucked into, and it just kills your soul, and it kills your drive to actually want to make something of yourself, as opposed to just fall in line with what's expected of that community.
I agree. It's all about expectations. Yeah, I agree.
So what you're doing is excellent.
Well, I was a teacher and a school principal for a number of years, and I kept on going, well, and I've written books like How Do You Recognize a Good School When You Walk Into One, and Climate Creators. There are people in organizations that create climate, destroy climate. My real future supersedes the logical future. There's Craig. Okay,
hi, Craig. Hi. Thank you for joining us. I'm not going anywhere, but I lost the cap to my brush, and so I'm gonna look away from the screen. But yeah, what's going on, Craig?
Oh no, I'm just really interested in I'm really enjoying the creativity. I live in New Zealand, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, all right. Welcome.
That's the place all of us want to visit someday.
That is true. It's
a good time to come because the American dollar is very strong against the Kiwi dollar. So,
that's good to know.
I would like to believe it's actually called the Kiwi dollar, but I don't think it is.
Yeah. So I'm in California, and Aaron there is up in the Northwest.
Up in Seattle. Here we go. Yep. Nice and cool up here. I know California is on fire.
Yeah, we might have some rain for the first time in I don't know how many months.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's so dry down here right now. So we'll trade your weather up there.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So Craig, you mentioned that you make educational or inspirational videos.
Oh well, that more so design. So I've worked with a video company to create school videos, but more in terms of the way in which you use art and design in school to help kids, more so the younger ones possibly than the older ones. Teenagers,
like elementary,
they're a little bit more challenging, the teenagers. But using it to educate students about values and about important characteristics that would help them in their lives in the future. And so, and I think that art, and I think that design and having the student voice in that is great, because they're learning about a really awesome skill, art and creativity. Like you're saying, Aaron, it's and Gene, it's using a part of your brain which is really important.
And if it doesn't get fed, it's going to be dormant, and it's going to be used.
And it gets kids away from tablets and devices and things. And right. one of the really important parts of my business, just as a designer, is getting off the computer and using those parts of my brain. And I can't tell you how much paper that I chew through, and pencils and what have you. It all starts with a pencil and paper. And I think it's a really important. I think it's really cool that to be able to use art and design and creativity to explore values.
I can agree with working on paper, getting off of devices, because pen to paper, pencil to paper is the fastest way that you can get something in your mind into reality. And as far as, maybe these people don't always have access to the most expensive, Wacom tablets or anything like that. Pen to paper, it's helped me just like it's helped you, Craig, connect a little bit better with your ideas and creativity. And it's a very crucial part of the process.
What about whiteboards? What about drawing on whiteboards? Like there's a lot of marketing strategies going on right now where, in fact, I'm even using a whiteboard to explain the Ambassadors of Compassion program to school principals. you use a whiteboard at all, Craig, to kind of put your story on the whiteboard, and then because it's a little bit different than like a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation. It's always in front of people for them to evaluate, to consider, each of the concepts that you're presenting. It doesn't go away, is what I'm saying.
I don't use whiteboards. I'm coming more from the position of we like in New Zealand, values education is really important. So right. it's very much a part of the system where schools have taken a more of a business approach, where businesses they we begin with a core set of values, and we look at our vision, our mission, and these sorts of things, and they're not just words on paper, but they represent something that is unique about a school. And and when students walk through the front doors, walk through the front gates of the school, they're walking into an environment where those core values are really, really important. Now, you could say that a lot of those values are similar between schools. So, respect and responsibility and these kinds of things. But the way in which the school explores those values is unique. So, and this is where the creativity and where the fun starts to happen, and we start to get this artistic and creative buy-in, because what you can start to look at is the way in which you visually explore the unique culture of your school, and I think that a really good way of doing that is through symbols and metaphors. And so when you're looking at your school and you're looking at the unique characteristics of your school, you can start to explore things like your geographic location, or some birds, or some other sort of historical significance and these sorts of things. And I pulled out an example that I'm working on right now, just to show you really quickly, and in the use of mascots. So, for example, schools, mascots they use them in sports teams and what have you. Mascots in schools are another way of exploring values. So with younger elementary type kids, you can use this mascot that's sort of been humanized. So you've got this kind of that word?
Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic.
Yes, anthropomorphic. So you've got this anthropomorphism happening with school mascots, where they take on this human type nature, and they're educating young students about values. So for example, this is I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a can you hear me okay? Am I?
Yes, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. So this little guy, I'm just drawing him at the moment, and he is a New Zealand, a national bird. He's unique to New Zealand, but and he's a tui. He's called a tui.
Tui. Now
Maori for tui is rere, R-E-R-E. And so what we've done is we've created an acronym for rere, which is respect, effort, responsibility, and empathy. And those four values are tied up in rere, the tui mascot for the school. And that's just one example of the sort of, the way you can kind of explore metaphor and explore or add creativity. And then what the kids can do is that they can start to, they can start to draw their own little reres if they like. Yeah. And how values are represented in the school with rere. Now that's at a young level. You're not going to get that sort of buy-in with teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you put him on a skateboard or on a surfboard, I mean, wouldn't it just depend on, or putting jumping on a motorcycle over a 50-foot
Yeah. So
bar at the top?
when I'm not drawing, I'm a marketing guy, and you really need to be in tune before you try to pitch something to a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah, you're right. You cannot fool a teenager.
No.
So you've got, with teenagers, you're being much more honest. You're not mucking around with teenagers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's more about the language, and how it's applied. Hey,
that's one thing we ought to give to Aaron, Craig. Language is the mediator of all behavior. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Language is the mediator of all behavior. In other words, what you're doing, Craig, by teaching kids the language of values through art expression is what actually facilitates and assists kids in terms of carrying forward their ideas, themselves, their beliefs. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything. Everything is embodied in language. But art is a great medium to do it with. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other things too are, I was just talking about mascots, but when you're exploring values and in terms of art, like art includes things like photography as well, and what have you, and just giving students a camera and telling them to, and getting them to take a camera and go and create, go and explore with your friends, get half a dozen friends, and go and explore what cooperation means. And they'll come back and take photos. And what I've actually done with one school was they took some photos of what those values represented, and then we created some flags and we put them around the school. And so you've got the student buy-in, you've got the collaboration
ownership
between ownership. They're taking ownership of those, and sort of thinking about them more. So it's interesting, but that's all.
And you can do the same things that kids do their artwork on a tile, then they color it and paint it and everything, and then you put it in the kiln, and those tiles become a part of a seat outside and around the school. Look, most of the schools really aren't for kids. They're even framing kids' artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, how many frames, really beautiful frames that we put around kids' artwork. I mean, it's just something that is not valued in our society here in America.
Right. If it's not math or science, and even those are going downhill as far as education, but
it's all about the kids, isn't it?
And so, Craig, you were talking about letting these kids do their own thing, and with Riri, and I think Gene has a good what he's doing kind of ties into that. It's giving people their own. What can I say? If they're responsible for something, they're going to take ownership of it, and they're going to really, really embrace the message that you're pushing out. So if you were to do something with Riri for a teen, I think it would be giving them control of the message. Don't try to push this message RE on them. Say, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you to be part of this community? And let's hear that. And how do you demonstrate that? How do you illustrate that? That's, I think, how you reach teenagers, because all they want to do is, well, first, they all want to be grown up, right?
And they all want to succeed.
Yes. And if you give them the tools, the trust, they'll surprise you, I think.
Yeah.
Well, responsibility is the foundational value of all values. Respect is the super virtue of all virtues. We used to debate between different values in our school. Mm-hmm. And our school was known for value-based education here in the States, and I won the National Educator of the Year and all that kind of nonsense. But the bottom line is that kids really understood, before they graduated from school, they had to write an essay. They had to, first of all, draw a picture of themselves. Here's the art, okay? Draw a picture of themselves, put in those 7 core ethical values in the body. By the way, the feet are the foundational value of all value. That's taking the initiative, the first steps a non-prompted lifestyle.
I love
so initiative.
Language.
Yeah, initiative is the highest form of responsibility. And the hands have to wash each other, so that's the cooperative spirit. Even in your body, one hand washes the other, you don't have clean hands. So that's cooperation and the importance of that. So you can do these 7 core ethical values down to the body. Now, before they graduate from school, they have to draw a picture of themselves and fill in those 7 values. So they'd be doing what Aaron's doing right now.
Yeah.
In order to finish the blab, he's got to finish the artwork.
That is true. That is true. Or my phone will die, and I don't know if there's an allegory for that.
Well, besides the Craig, talk more about. Have you kind of come to any kind of decision about which values are, like a good example is my staff. After we had a whole year on integrity. One of my staff members said to me in the lounge one day, they said, I'm sure glad we're done with that one, because it demanded so much from teachers to be a person of integrity. I mean, and it really does. If you really want to be transparent with people and really the inner truth, the biggest lies are the ones we tell us about us. Yeah. And we'd be arguing about which value is more important or better or higher than the other value. And it was fascinating just some of the stuff they came up with. But I'm just curious if you've come up with any core values that in New Zealand that are really important for kids, besides the one you mentioned in the little, your bird.
Well, we have what's called a New Zealand curriculum Sorry, my phone keeps going off because it's blabbing all the time. I'm going to put it on silent. We have what's called a New Zealand curriculum document. And in the New Zealand curriculum document, I'll just get it, just a minute. This is what's the New Zealand curriculum. It's given to every single principal in New Zealand. And they rewrote it in 2007 to reflect a new approach to education and especially in terms of values and visions and all these sorts of things. But the core values that, according to the New Zealand curriculum, that they want all schools to embrace are students will be encouraged to value excellence. And I'll read the description as well. So students will be encouraged to value excellence by aiming high and by persevering in the face of difficulties, innovation, inquiry, and curiosity, by thinking critically, creatively, and reflectively, diversity, as found in our different cultures, languages, and heritages, equity, through fairness and social justice, community and participation. There's quite a list here. Community and participation.
See, I would argue that those aren't core values, that those are a lot of values.
Yes.
But if you have more than six
what I
or
was going to
seven,
say, what I was going to say was that then what schools are asked to do is to build upon those. So those are values that they want students to think about. But in terms of individual schools, like you've developed with the schools you've been involved in, their core values, and I think a couple that come up quite a lot are respect and responsibility. I think those two I've seen a lot. So yeah.
And besides efforts like Riri and using and going to these schools and doing this type of design initiative, how are New Zealand schools pushing these through, I don't know, art classes, performance classes, music, or anything like that?
Oh, we've done it with music. I know that your question was in New Zealand, but we've done it with a lot of music, character classics.
Cool.
We've written our own songs on integrity.
Yep.
I mean, music is a great medium. That's at least one art that hasn't died, although even our music instructor would create songs with with a school course and things like that. But art, and we have great artists, great art teachers in our particular school district in Irvine, California. But bottom line is, if I were to go back and do it all over again, take education all over again, I would have taken far more art classes.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get anywhere near enough art,
Mm-hmm.
And look at you, the way you print in there, you're just making that poster like right in front of us. I mean, and most of the people in the world can't do that. Why? Because we never had any practice. We never had a chance to fail in trying stuff like that,
Yeah. And I will say, before I went to college, so I was very heavily interested in art. My art teachers all, encouraged me in class. But even then, my guidance counselor said, "Hey, you're pretty good at science. Why don't you go for biology or whatever?" And then I wasted years doing that, being a very poor student, as my OChem professor said, "Aaron, you are a bad student." And I used to draw pictures. I used to draw pictures inside my lab notebook for extra credit, and it worked. It got me through. I ended up with C's in there, and not ideal. But it was until after I graduated with a bachelor's that I went back and got an associate's in design. And I thought, why didn't nobody tell me that I could make money doing art and actually be happy with what I do?
There you go.
It was a difficult. I'm glad I got the education, but if somebody would have told me sooner and said, "Hey, you can actually express yourself, and people will dig it," and you'll be happy. That would have been nice to know.
All right, Aaron, you asked Craig a question about New Zealand.
Yes.
And as far as the art classes and music, application to the values, what's up?
Yeah. So you read off that list of the values. Is there anything that you see in New Zealand public schools, or maybe in the city that you're familiar with? What do they do to go above and beyond to incorporate those values, the equality, the inclusiveness, and exchanging of ideas? How do you think New Zealand is doing this any different?
I don't know enough about the rest of the world in terms of, how it works in American schools, to be able to compare. But I know, like, in New Zealand schools, in terms of the core values as they relate to an individual school, they tie them into, they try to tie them in a holistic sense. So how they apply to any given situation, whether it's academically, whether they're in a class, whether they're in the playing field, whatever they're doing. So they're asking students to take ownership of those at any given moment. And how they do that, I haven't been involved in terms of the development of the how they structure that in a classroom, because I'm not a teacher. But I do try to provide the visuals and some of the diagrammatic material that helps promote them around the classroom or promote them around the school, that kind of thing. So I think it's amazing, that there's a huge responsibility on principals to in terms of how those values are applied in a classroom and in a school. It's a lot more work involved in that area, and I think that and there are some excellent consultants and I've got a colleague in Australia that I've worked with who's very good in that regard. So yeah, it's a very challenging thing, but important, I feel.
Yeah, it is very important, and it sounds like, well, if they're reaching out to people like you to get this stuff actually involved, where I can't speak for every school here, but I can speak for the schools that I went to, and I went to 3 different high schools. As time went on, it was like there was less importance on students actually taking responsibility for what they're doing, as opposed to just school districts hitting numbers. Like, hey, if we can hit the numbers on people passing and failing, that's great. Good job with the numbers, but not so much on let's actually get students involved and responsible.
Yeah, to me, that is so true. And, we're working with a Resiliency Institute up in Canada who is doing our pre and post tests on resiliency. And you talk about if there's anything, an important concept to teach kids is perseverance, grit, rebound. When you fall down, you get back up. I mean, how many times in our life? What about relationships that fall apart? How do you get out of being jaded so much that you're willing to get back into a healthy relationship? The list goes on and on and on. And if we don't give kids those kind of the capacity to know those and express them, and geez, the art, I never thought about art as being encompassed as a part of that whole way that kids would get a holistic understanding of each of these values, and let them put the words on their own posters.
Definitely
let them do their own posters. But we could take somebody like Aaron and connect him to 3 other kids on here and saying, because a lot of them are going, what am I going to do when I graduate?
Yep.
There's 30% of the kids are dropping out of college now these days. There's 40% in Boise that are dropping out as freshmen. I mean, they don't have the life ready skills, life ready. And that's what values are. But if we could do a training program where we would kind of inspire kids to do what Aaron has done, picked up intuitively just because he liked it, maybe we can kind of plant some seeds here in with schools all over the country and New Zealand.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. I think that the more I think creativity and exploring values in schools through a pen, through a paintbrush, in photography, whatever, and displaying it around the school. I think it's brilliant. And schools in New Zealand do a lot of that. There's a lot of collaboration and a lot of promotion in the classrooms to celebrate those sorts of things.
But the question I have for you, Craig, and the thing that we are continually, being measured by here in the States are, now we have a new set of standards that people are adopting all over the country called the Common Core State Standards. We used to have the California State Standards, and I'm sure Aaron had the Washington State Standards when he was in school. But I mean, they can keep on changing the standards, but the bottom line is standards are only a means to the end. That's not an educated person.
Yep.
To me, what I'm seeing Aaron do on his other screen there is, he's effectively functioning in an area that a lot of people can't function in, and they're ignorant to, and they're unskilled. It's not a part of their portfolio,
It's not even a part of their known universe.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you, I guess my question to you in New Zealand is, how do you overcome the demand to be a global leader in mathematics or I can take you to states in America and Iowa, and we can compete with, you name the country. But when you throw all the mix in, when you talk about diversity and you throw all the people in the mix and test people in that mix, I mean, you're going to come up with kids that have special education, kids that are in access schools, kids that are in continuation schools, that are in the court schools. All those kids are taking the same test. And they don't care about school, nor do they care about academics. Do they care about their work ethic, or do they care about, I'm not saying all, because that would be wrong, but I'm just saying the vast majority, don't buy into what we now call public education. And that's why the charter school movement in this country is huge. That's why parochial schools, that people are looking for that. And they're bailing out. I'm still a strong believer in the public schools. I think that's where the whole mix of kids come together. I want to teach art to the kids in the public school. you know, and to teach the things that skills that Aaron has, and by not so much of telling them what to do, but being a guide by the side and just having these, kind of like casual conversations that we're having here today. And I could learn a lot from just listening. So shut up, Jane.
In relation to that, Jane, just in relation to what you were saying about the kids that are being left behind in that, I'm encouraged. You know, I visit quite a few schools in my own area, and one school that I visited just recently that I'm currently doing some work with. I was walking around. I was looking through the class, looking in the classroom, sort of getting a feel for the school, and it was like morning tea time. So all of the students were outside, you know, and having a good time, and, you know, getting a bit of fresh air. And the fresh air is really fresh at the moment because it's still feeling a bit wintry. But I went into a classroom and there was a teacher in there, and she had a student with her. And I heard her say, and it absolutely made my day. I heard her say, "Look, such and such, at some stage you're going to have to go outside and get some fresh air." He was so engrossed in what he was doing. He was absolutely loving it. Now this is a low socioeconomic area, and I was just like, and this student was absolutely just he didn't want to go out and have some fresh air. He wanted to stick at what he was doing and keep going. And I think his teacher wanted a cup of coffee, but she was sticking with him. But that school, that particular school, a number of their students cry. They're literally in tears when the school holidays come around, and especially the long Christmas holidays. We have our big break, 6-week break.
Wow,
Christmas.
6 weeks. Wow.
That's our summertime. So that's the big break. But we have term breaks during the year. And the students, a number of the students are literally in tears when they have to leave school for the holidays, because they're from homes that are broken, and they don't get the values or the enjoyment or the love or the feeling of community that they get in the school. And I guess where I'm coming from is that there's so much responsibility, and I take my hat off to the teachers and their involvement in that whole process of showing love, of showing care, and all of these sorts of things to these students that are from these broken families. And it really, really blows me away. What a difference a school can make and teachers can make to students, and the way they look at life, and yeah.
Well, I'd have to go along with you too. I think that very few kids, even not just kids that are in disadvantaged situation, but very few kids experience unconditional love. Very few people experience unconditional love. I mean, there's always some kind of conditions associated with the affirmation, the compliment. As people are going kind of suspect, like, what do you want from me? As opposed to just accepting it. I heard one time that if you can't accept praise, you can't also accept criticism. I mean, if you can't accept criticism, you can't also accept praise. In other words, it's, if somebody makes a praise statement to you, and it works both ways, but if somebody makes some kind of an affirmation to you, thank them. And appreciate what they just said to you, because it's as opposed to, I'm not sure what's behind that, puppy.
Yeah.
But I think it's much better to just accept it. And the same thing, because then if somebody turns around and says, hey, you need to work on that rough edge there, smooth that out, you got some work to do there, Bedley. I think that when you hear that, then you need to listen to that as well and thank them for their truthfulness and helping you, take another step toward becoming the person that you were created to be. So, yeah, very few people, I think, really get unconditional love.
I've got to go, guys. I've really enjoyed this because I've got a few more hours to do some work and that. But thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah,
on your
for sure.
today.
Thanks for joining. Actually, you saw the other screen. It kind of disappeared because I wrapped it on up. We're all finished here.
That looks great,
these are never perfect because sometimes I just lose concentration on what I'm doing. So you see the 5 seconds kind of escape the frame there, but that's life.
Good job.
Thank you. And before you go, if you ever want to participate, this one's going to be backwards, maybe, you can use the hashtag tweet to paper on Twitter. And if you attach that to one of your tweets, I may draw it up. And I will definitely invite you, but that's the only way to get it on my radar. But yeah, I want to thank you, Craig, for sure, for joining. And Gene, I'm going to wrap this baby up pretty soon, but for sure, contact me on Twitter on Blab, and I'm looking forward to your guys' Blabs too. I'd love to learn more about Gene, how everything's going, and Craig, how your programs are working out in New Zealand.
Yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch. I enjoyed this. And nice to meet you, Gene.
Oh, nice to meet you guys both. And I put my website up there. We're ethicsusa.org.
Okay. Nice.
And what I would like to, I think that chart that you drew was, Aaron, was something that we would love to use in our program. Okay. So you tell me how we can, again, how do you get those, and how do we work that into what we're trying to do? Okay. If we find good tools.
Well, if you'd like.
Anyway, Craig, thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'm just going to put my email here, Gene, if you would like to contact me. Go ahead and use that one.
Okay.
Seattle here, so my time is getting more manageable.
Yeah, very good. Where are you from? Where did you hang out before?
Yeah, I just moved here from Milwaukee 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago from Milwaukee, born and raised. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for spending time and sharing your Blab with me.
Oh, for sure. Thanks, Gene.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it, Aaron.